The stars looked peaceful through the observation window of the Frontier Dawn. Captain Marcus Webb stood with his coffee cup, watching the distant sun of the Kepler 442 system burn bright against the darkness. He had been in space for 15 years, and the view still amazed him every morning. The ship hummed quietly around him, all systems running smooth. "Captain, you need to see this." Lisa Grant's voice came through the speaker. She was their pilot, young but incredibly skilled. Marcus had handpicked her for this mission 3 years ago. Marcus walked to the bridge, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. The Frontier Dawn was not a military ship. It was built for exploration, for finding new worlds where humans could live. The crew was small, just 12 people, but they were good at their jobs. Lisa pointed at her screen when Marcus arrived. "We picked up a signal. It's not natural. Someone built whatever is making this." Marcus leaned closer. The signal pattern was clear and regular, pulsing every few seconds. His heart beat faster. In all his years exploring space, he had never found proof of alien life. Humanity had been alone in the universe as far as they knew. "Where is it coming from?" Marcus asked. "The fourth planet, the one we catalogued as K442d. Lisa pulled up an image. The planet looked gray and cold, with ice caps covering both poles. "The signal is coming from the northern continent." Kevin Hayes, their engineer, walked onto the bridge carrying a tablet. He was a big man with rough hands and a practical mind. "I checked the signal 3 times. It's definitely artificial. The pattern is too perfect to be natural." Amy Clark joined them. She was their xenobiologist, the scientist who would study any alien life they found. Her eyes were bright with excitement. "This is it. This is what we've been searching for. We have to go down there." Marcus thought carefully. They were alone out here, months away from Earth. If something went wrong, no help was coming. But this was why they had left home. This was why humanity built ships and sent them to distant stars. "Prepare the landing shuttle," Marcus said. "Lisa, Kevin, Amy, you're with me. The rest of the crew stays on the ship. If we're not back in 12 hours, return to Earth and report what we found." The shuttle dropped through K442d's thin atmosphere 2 hours later. The planet was cold, almost 30 degrees below zero. Their suits kept them warm, but Marcus could feel the chill trying to get through. The northern continent was rocky and barren, covered in ice and stone. The signal grew stronger as they approached. Then they saw it. A structure rose from the frozen ground, made of dark metal that reflected no light. It was huge, maybe 300 meters tall, shaped like a pyramid with smooth sides. No windows, no doors that they could see. "It's beautiful," Amy whispered through the radio. Lisa landed the shuttle 200 meters from the structure. They climbed out slowly, carrying scanners and cameras. The gravity was slightly less than Earth's, making each step feel light and strange. Kevin scanned the structure with his equipment. "The metal is nothing I recognize. The composition is unlike anything in our database. And it's old. Really old. Maybe thousands of years." They walked closer. Marcus felt nervous but pushed the feeling down. They had come too far to turn back now. The structure's surface was perfectly smooth, without any marks or damage despite its age. Amy reached out to touch it. "Wait," Marcus said. But she had already placed her gloved hand on the metal. The structure came alive. Lights blazed along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at. A deep sound rumbled through the ground, making their teeth shake. Panels opened in the pyramid's side, and machines emerged. They looked like weapons. "Back to the shuttle, now!" They ran. The gravity made it difficult, each step too long and bouncing. Behind them, energy beams cut through the air, burning the ice into steam. One beam hit close to Kevin, knocking him down. Marcus grabbed him and pulled him up. Lisa reached the shuttle first and fired up the engines. Amy jumped through the door, then Kevin. Marcus was last. diving through as another beam struck the ground where he had been standing. The shuttle lifted off hard, pushing them against their seats. "They're following us!" Lisa's hands moved fast across the controls. Marcus looked at the screen. 3 flying machines had emerged from the structure, sleek and fast. They fired beam after beam at the shuttle. The shuttle shook as one beam hit their rear shield. Warning lights flashed red across the console. "Shield at 40%, Kevin called out. "We can't take many more hits." Lisa pushed the shuttle higher, trying to reach space. The planet's thin air whipped past them. Another hit. The shuttle spun, and Lisa fought to control it. 20% shields. "We're not going to make it." "Yes, we are," Lisa said through gritted teeth. She did something Marcus had never seen before. She shut down the rear engines completely, letting the shuttle fall backward. The alien machines shot past them, confused. Lisa fired the engines again at full power, shooting the shuttle up and past the surprised aliens. They broke through the atmosphere. The Frontier Dawn waited in orbit, and Lisa guided the damaged shuttle to the docking bay. They had barely closed the door when the alien machines arrived, but these ones were different. Bigger. Warships. Marcus ran to the bridge. "Get us out of here! Maximum! Speed!" The Frontier Dawn turned and ran. It was fast for an exploration ship, but the alien warships were faster. They gained ground quickly, firing those terrible beams. The ship's shields held, but barely. Explosions rocked the bridge, as systems overloaded. "We need to jump to faster than light speed," the navigation officer said. "But we need 2 minutes to charge the drive." "We don't have 2 minutes," Lisa said. Kevin's fingers flew across his console. "I can reroute power from life support. Give us breathable air for maybe 10 minutes. But charge the jump drive in 90 seconds. "Do it," Marcus ordered. The ship groaned as Kevin redirected the power. The air immediately felt thinner. Marcus's head started to hurt. The jump drive whined louder and louder, building energy. The alien ships kept firing. Shield failure warnings screamed across every screen. 30 seconds. The navigation officer counted down. 20 seconds. An explosion tore through the engineering deck. Kevin's screen went dark. "Fire in Section 7. I'm losing the power transfer." Amy unbuckled and ran. "I'll fix it." "Amy, no!" Marcus shouted. But she was gone. He pulled up the camera feed from engineering. Amy reached the burning panel and pulled it open, exposing the wiring underneath. Smoke filled the corridor. She grabbed 2 cables with her bare hands, connecting them manually. 10 seconds, the navigation officer said. 9, 8, jump now. Amy's voice came through the radio, weak and pained. The universe twisted. The Frontier Dawn leaped through space, jumping hundreds of light years in an instant. The alien ships vanished from the sensors. They were safe. Marcus ran to engineering. Amy was on the floor, her hands burned badly. Kevin was already there with the medical kit. "She'll be okay," he said. "Burns are serious but not life-threatening." Marcus helped carry Amy to the medical bay. The ship was damaged but functional. They had survived, but they had learned something terrible. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and their neighbors were hostile. Marcus sat in his quarters that night, unable to sleep. He wrote a message, encoding everything they had discovered. The structure, the attack, the warships. He sent it on every frequency, hoping someone would receive it. Because those aliens had seen their ship. They had seen which direction the Frontier Dawn had come from. They would know where to find humanity's home. And Marcus had seen enough of their weapons to know that Earth was not ready for what was coming. He looked at the star maps on his wall. Earth was so far away, a tiny blue dot in an enormous galaxy. Humanity had thought they were alone. They had thought space was empty, waiting for them to explore it. They had been wrong. The Frontier Dawn limped through space, heading home with its warning. Behind them, somewhere in the darkness, an ancient and powerful enemy was making plans. Plans to deal with the new species that had dared to touch their sacred structure. Plans to do what they had done to 17 other species before. They would come to Earth. They would come with their weapons and their warships. They would expect humanity to surrender quickly, to accept their place as subjects of the Varan Collective. But they did not know humans. They did not know that humanity had fought and survived for millions of years. They did not know about human stubbornness, about the refusal to give up even when defeat seemed certain. They did not know that touching that structure had not frightened humanity into submission. It had made them angry. Marcus finished his message and sent it one more time. Then he went to check on Amy. She was sleeping, her hands wrapped in bandages. Lisa sat beside her, keeping watch. "We're going home," Marcus told her quietly. "And then we're going to make sure Earth is ready." Lisa nodded. Through the window, the stars burned cold and distant. Somewhere out there, an enemy was coming. But humanity would be waiting. The frontier dawn carried more than a warning. It carried proof that humans could fight, could survive, could escape when the odds said they should die. The journey home would take 3 months. 3 months to repair the ship. 3 months to prepare their report. 3 months before humanity learned that they were not alone, and that the universe was far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. But 3 months was time. Time to think. Time to plan. Time to get ready for what was coming. The Frontier Dawn flew on through the darkness, carrying its crew and its terrible news toward home. 3 months had passed since the Frontier Dawn returned to Earth. The United Earth Coalition had transformed from a peaceful government into a military force. Admiral Peter Grant stood on the bridge of the battlecruiser Resolute, watching construction crews finish the last warship in the fleet. He was Lisa's father. Though they had not spoken much since she returned, she was still recovering from the trauma of that mission. Peter looked older than his 50 years. The weight of command did that to a person. He had been a naval officer on Earth before taking command of the orbital defense fleet. Now he commanded humanity's entire military response to the alien threat. 47 warships. That was all Earth could build in 3 months. Intelligence reports said the alien fleet heading toward them had over 200 ships. "Admiral, Dr. Martinez is here to see you," his aide said. Helen Martinez entered the bridge. She was a physicist, one of the smartest people on Earth. The coalition had put her in charge of weapons development. She carried a tablet and looked exhausted. "We've made progress," she said without greeting. Helen did not waste time on politeness. "Show me," Peter said. Helen pulled up diagrams on the main screen. The data from the Frontier Dawn gave us enough information to understand their shield technology. It's based on gravitational field manipulation. Very advanced. Our conventional weapons barely scratch them. "I know this already," Peter said, trying to keep the frustration from his voice. "Tell me something new. We found a weakness." Helen smiled. The first smile Peter had seen from her in weeks. "Their shields operate on a fixed frequency. If we can generate a disruption pulse at exactly the right moment, we can collapse their shields for approximately 8 seconds. 8 seconds is not much time. It's enough to kill a ship if you're close enough and fast enough." Helen zoomed in on the design. "The problem is range. The disruption pulse only works within 500 meters. That means getting very close to enemy vessels." Peter understood immediately. 500 meters in space combat was like touching foreheads. Any ship that got that close would be torn apart by point defense weapons. It's a suicide mission. Not if the pilot is good enough. Helen met his eyes. "I heard your daughter volunteered." Peter felt cold. Lisa had indeed volunteered to lead the first squadron equipped with this new technology. She said she wanted to face the aliens again. She said she was not afraid. But Peter was afraid for her. "How long until the alien fleet arrives?" Peter asked, changing the subject. 2 weeks, maybe less. Helen packed up her tablet. The New Austin colony detected their vanguard 3 days ago. 12 ships, moving fast. New Austin was a small colony on the edge of human space. 3,000 people lived there, farming and mining. They had 3 defensive frigates, old ships with outdated weapons. "Tell Captain Ryan Foster to evacuate the colony," Peter ordered. Foster refused. "He says he's going to fight." Peter closed his eyes. Ryan Foster was stubborn and brave. He was also going to get his people killed. "Send him whatever supplies we can spare. If he's going to fight, at least give him a chance." The meeting ended. Peter walked to the observation deck and looked at Earth below. The planet was beautiful, covered in blue oceans and white clouds. He had spent his whole career protecting it. Now, the greatest threat in human history was coming, and all he had was 47 ships and untested weapons. His phone buzzed. A message from Lisa. "Dad, I'm ready for whatever comes. Don't worry about me. Love you." Peter typed a response but deleted it. What could he say? Instead, he just wrote back, "Love you too. Fly safe." On New Austin, Ryan Foster watched the approaching alien ships on his scanner. He was 32 years old, too young to be commanding a defensive fleet, but the Coalition had promoted everyone they could find with combat experience. Ryan had served in the Orbital Guard for 5 years. He had fought pirates and smugglers. He had never fought aliens. His 3 frigates, the Guardian, the Defender, and the Sentinel, formed up in orbit around New Austin. Each ship had a crew of 150 people against 12 alien warships. The math was not encouraging. "All ships, this is Foster. Listen up." Ryan opened the fleet channel. "We're outgunned and outnumbered. Standard tactics won't work, so we're going to do something they won't expect. We're going to fight dirty." His second-in-command, Emma Stone, looked at him from the tactical station. "What's the plan, Captain?" "The asteroid belt. We're going to lead them into the belt and use the rocks as cover." Ryan pulled up a map of the system. New Austin had a thick asteroid belt orbiting between the colony world and the outer planets. Thousands of rocks, some as big as cities. "We know this belt. They don't. That's our advantage." The alien ships entered the system 6 hours later. They moved in perfect formation, sleek and deadly. Ryan's hands sweated inside his gloves. This was really happening. He was about to fight aliens. "All ships, fall back toward the belt. Make them chase us." Ryan guided the Guardian away from New Austin. The other 2 frigates followed. The alien ships accelerated, pursuing them. The frigates dove into the asteroid field. Ryan pushed the Guardian through gaps between spinning rocks, using his knowledge of the belt's patterns. Behind them, the alien ships followed, but they moved more carefully. They were not used to this environment. Defender, brake left. Sentinel, brake right, confused their targeting. Ryan watched his screen as the 3 frigates split up. The alien ships hesitated, then divided their force. 4 ships followed each frigate. Ryan led his 4 pursuers deeper into the belt. An asteroid the size of a building spun past his window. He flew under it, then banked hard right. The alien ships matched his moves, staying close. Their weapons fired, beams of energy cutting through space. One beam grazed the Guardian's shields. "Return fire!" Ryan ordered. The Guardian's railguns spun up and fired metal slugs at incredible speed. The shots bounced off the alien shields. "Damn it!" Emma worked at her console. "Captain, I have an idea. The asteroids. What if we shoot the asteroids?" Ryan understood immediately. He aimed at a large asteroid ahead of them and fired. The railgun shells shattered the rock, sending thousands of fragments flying in all directions. The alien ships flew into the debris cloud. Their shields protected them, but the constant impacts created flashes of light and energy that confused their sensors. "All ships, target asteroids, create debris fields." Ryan called to the other frigates. The battle turned into chaos. Human ships darted through the belt, shattering asteroids and creating clouds of deadly fragments. The alien ships struggled to track them through the debris. Their formation broke apart as they were forced to dodge both the human frigates and the flying rocks. The Defender caught an alien ship by surprise, emerging from behind an asteroid and firing at point-blank range. Even alien shields had limits. The concentrated fire overwhelmed the shields for just a moment. Railgun rounds punched through the hull, and the alien ship exploded in a ball of fire. "First kill," the Defender's captain shouted over the radio. But the aliens adapted quickly. They stopped chasing individual frigates, and instead began destroying asteroids systematically, clearing paths through the belt. Ryan watched as they carved safe zones in the asteroid field with their weapons. "They're learning," Emma said quietly. Ryan's mind raced. They had surprised the aliens once. They needed to do it again. "Sentinel, Guardian, converge on my position. We're going to ram them." "Sir?" Emma looked shocked. "Not really ram them. Make them think we're going to ram them." Ryan accelerated toward the nearest alien ship. The Guardian was small and fast. The alien ship was larger and slower. Ryan flew straight at it, not deviating, not slowing down. The alien ship's weapons fired continuously. The Guardian's shields dropped to 30%, then 20, then 10. Emma gripped her chair. "Captain, we're going to hit them." At the last possible moment, Ryan spun the Guardian sideways and fired every thruster at maximum power. The ship barely missed the alien vessel, passing so close that Ryan could see its hull through the window. As they passed, the Guardian fired all weapons directly into the alien ship's side at zero range. The alien shields held against the railguns, but the Guardian also carried missiles. 6 missiles, fired from 5 meters away, slammed into the shield generator before the aliens could react. The generator exploded, and without shields, the alien hull was vulnerable. The Guardian's final railgun burst, tore through the ship's engines. The alien vessel went dark and began tumbling, disabled. The Sentinel executed the same maneuver on another alien ship. Humans had one advantage. They were willing to take insane risks. The aliens fought carefully, trying to minimize damage to their own ships. Humans fought like cornered animals, desperate and dangerous. 3 more alien ships fell to the suicidal tactics. But the cost was high. The Defender took a direct hit to its reactor. The crew evacuated in escape pods, seconds before the ship exploded. The Sentinel's engines were damaged, leaving it crippled and floating. Ryan's Guardian was alone against 5 remaining alien ships. His shields were gone. His railguns were overheated. He had 1 missile left. "Emma, get everyone to the escape pods," Ryan said calmly. "No, sir. We can still fight." "That's an order, Lieutenant." The crew evacuated. Ryan stayed at the controls. He aimed the Guardian at the largest alien ship and accelerated. This time, he was really going to ram them. The aliens seemed to realize his intention. They fired everything they had. The Guardian's hull melted under the barrage. Ryan felt the heat through the deck. "This, there be a manning. They livings on Ryan 7. This with performed by do the cross." He reached the alien ship. His hand hovered over the missile launch button. Just before impact, he fired the last missile and ejected in his personal escape pod. The Guardian crashed into the alien ship's bridge. The missile struck a second later, detonating inside the collision. Both ships exploded in a massive fireball that lit up the asteroid belt. The remaining 4 alien ships stopped pursuing. They regrouped, collected their damaged vessel, and retreated from the system. They had come with 12 ships. They left with 4 functional vessels and 1 crippled hulk under tow. Peter Grant received the report from New Austin while standing on the Resolute's bridge. He read it 3 times to make sure he understood. 3 small frigates had defeated 12 alien warships. Humans had lost 2 ships. The aliens lost 7. "It's not possible," his tactical officer said, but it had happened. Ryan Foster and his crews had proved something important. The aliens could be beaten. Their ships were more advanced, their weapons more powerful, their shields stronger. But humans could still win by refusing to follow the rules. By fighting in ways the aliens did not expect. Peter called an emergency meeting with all ship captains. He showed them the battle footage from New Austin. "This is how we survive," he told them. "We don't fight them ship to ship. We don't try to match their technology. We fight dirty. We take risks they won't take. We do things they think are impossible." The captains nodded. They understood. Word spread through the fleet. Morale improved. Humanity had been terrified, facing an enemy they could not defeat. Now, they had hope. Helen Martinez watched the footage too. She saw how close Foster had gotten to the alien ships. 500 meters. Exactly the range needed for her disruption pulse. "It can work," she whispered to herself. "We can really do this." 1. Lisa Grant volunteered again to lead the fighter squadron. This time, her father did not try to stop her. He understood now. This was not about protecting his daughter. This was about giving her and every other human the chance to fight back. The alien fleet was still coming. 200 ships carrying weapons that could burn planets. But humanity was ready now. They knew they could bleed the aliens. They knew courage and creativity could defeat superior technology. The real battle was coming. The battle for Earth itself, and humanity would face it together. Armed with hope and the knowledge that sometimes the crazy plan actually worked, the Titan shipyards orbited Saturn, hidden among the rings and moons. Admiral Peter Grant stood in the command center, watching the final preparations. 47 warships floated in formation, the entire military strength of humanity. Engineers rushed to complete last-minute repairs. Supply ships ferried ammunition and fuel. Everyone knew this might be humanity's final battle. "Fleet status report," Peter ordered. His operations officer, Jake Morgan, pulled up the displays. Jake was young for his position. Only 28. But he was brilliant, with tactics and systems management. All capital ships ready. The cruisers Resolute, Defiant, and Valiant are at full strength. The destroyers and frigates are loaded and armed. Fighter squadrons are prepped. And the special weapons? Dr. Martinez's disruption pulse generators are installed on all fighter craft. The pilots have been briefed. Jake hesitated. "Admiral, the pilots understand this is extremely dangerous. They're still volunteering." Peter nodded. He had spoken to Lisa that morning. She was determined, almost eager. She and her squadron of 20 fighters would be the tip of the spear. They had to get close enough to the alien ships to deploy the pulse, close enough that the alien point defense systems could tear them apart. "How long until the alien fleet arrives?" Peter asked. 18 hours. They're coming through the outer system. Sensors show 207 vessels. 200 versus 47. The math had not improved. But Peter remembered Ryan Foster's battle at New Austin. Humans had won that engagement by refusing to fight fair. They would do the same here. Helen Martinez entered the command center. She looked like she had not slept in days. Which was probably true. "Admiral, I need to show you something." She pulled up a holographic display of Saturn's rings. The rings are made of ice particles, some as big as houses. They're dense, perfect for hiding ships. "You want to use the rings as cover?" Peter studied the display. "More than that. The rings can hide our ships until the aliens are committed to an attack. Then we hit them from multiple directions at once. They won't know how many ships we have or where we are until it's too late." Jake leaned forward. "The aliens fight in formations. They rely on overlapping shields and coordinated fire. If we can break their formation, separate their ships, we can pick them off individually." Peter considered this. It was risky. The rings would hide human ships, but they would also make coordination difficult. Communications would be spotty. Ships could easily lose track of each other. But the alternative was meeting the alien fleet in open space, where their superior numbers would crush the humans. "Do it," Peter decided. "Disperse the fleet throughout the rings. Set up ambush points. When the aliens arrive, we let them come to us. The fleet scattered. Ships dove into Saturn's rings, using the ice particles as camouflage. The Resolute positioned itself behind a cluster of house-sized ice chunks. Smaller vessels hid in the denser sections of the rings. Lisa's fighter squadron tucked themselves into a narrow gap between ring sections. Peter waited. The bridge was quiet, except for the soft beeping of consoles. Hours passed. The tension was unbearable. Alien fleet entering the system, Jake announced. Confirmed. 207 ships. They're in standard formation, heading straight for the inner planets. Peter watched the tactical display. The alien ships moved confidently, not knowing the human fleet was hiding just ahead. Their formation was tight, ships supporting each other with overlapping defensive fields. Let them get closer, Peter said quietly. Wait until they're in the rings. The alien fleet approached Saturn. They showed no sign of detecting the hidden human ships. Their commander, a Varan named Thelkar, had fought 17 other species. He expected this battle to be simple. Humans would form a defensive line, fire their primitive weapons, and die. Just like all the others. Thelkar's flagship, the Eternal Glory, led the fleet into the ring system. He paid little attention to the ice particles. His shields could handle debris. His sensors showed no enemy vessels. The humans were probably hiding near their homeworld, hoping to mount a desperate last stand. They're in position, Jake said. The alien fleet is spread through the rings. Peter took a breath. All ships, attack now. The Resolute burst from behind its ice cover, main guns already firing. 36 other warships emerged from hiding simultaneously, attacking from every direction. The aliens found themselves surrounded, their perfect formation suddenly meaningless. Lisa's fighter squadron screamed through the rings at maximum speed. The small craft were fast and agile, dodging between ice chunks that would have crushed larger ships. Her targeting computer locked onto an alien destroyer. Gold Squadron, follow me in. Lisa's hands were steady on the controls. Fear tried to creep into her mind, but she pushed it away. She had trained for this. She was ready. The fighters dove toward the alien ship. Point defense weapons opened fire, filling space with deadly energy. 2 fighters exploded immediately. Lisa jinked left, then right, her fighter dancing through the incoming fire. The range counter on her display dropped rapidly. 2,000 meters. 1,000. 700. Deploy pulse in 3, 2, 1. Mark. Lisa hit the button. The disruption pulse shot forward, an invisible wave of energy that struck the alien ship's shield generator. The shields flickered and collapsed. For 8 seconds, the destroyer was vulnerable. Now, fire everything. Lisa and her squadron unleashed their missiles. Without shields, the alien hull was just metal. Missiles punched through the armor, exploding inside the ship. The destroyer shuddered and began venting atmosphere. But the cost was high. Alien fire caught 3 more fighters as they pulled away. Good pilots, good people, gone in flashes of light. Reform and find another target. Lisa called to her remaining fighters. They had started with 20. Now they had 15. The battle had barely begun. Across the battlefield, human ships executed similar attacks. Captain Emma Stone commanded the destroyer Valiant. She had survived the battle at New Austin and learned valuable lessons. She brought her ship in fast and close to an alien cruiser, using a spinning ice chunk as mobile cover. Match velocity with that ice block, Emma ordered. Stay on the far side from the alien ship. The Valiant tucked itself behind the ice, using the chunk as a shield. The alien cruiser fired, but its beams struck the ice instead of the Valiant. Emma waited until they were close enough, then fired her railguns through the ice chunk. The rounds shattered the ice and kept going, slamming into the alien ship. The ice shattered into thousands of fragments, creating a debris cloud between the 2 ships. Emma used the confusion to reposition. Fire missiles, pattern Delta. The Valiant's missiles curved around the debris cloud, approaching the alien cruiser from multiple angles. The alien point defense destroyed most of them, but 3 got through, damaging the cruiser's weapon systems. "All ships, target that cruiser," Emma called on the fleet channel. "It's wounded." 3 frigates converged on the damaged alien ship, pouring fire into its weakened sections. The cruiser's shields collapsed, and the combined human fire tore it apart, but the aliens were adapting. Thelkar saw what was happening and changed tactics. He ordered his fleet to break formation and spread out, denying the humans their ambush advantage. Alien ships began actively hunting through the rings, using their superior sensors to locate hiding human vessels. The Resolute took a direct hit from an alien battleship. The shields held, but barely. Peter felt the deck shake under his feet. "Return fire! All forward batteries!" The Resolute's main guns fired. Massive railguns that accelerated metal slugs to a fraction of light speed. The rounds hit the alien battleship's shields and bounced off, but the impact staggered the enemy vessel. "Their shields are too strong," Jake said, frustrated. "We need the fighters to take them down. Lisa, we need that battleship's shields down now." "On our way." Lisa's voice came through, tight with concentration. Her squadron dove through a storm of fire. The alien battleship was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the Resolute. Its point defense grid was incredibly dense. Lisa watched 2 more fighters explode. "Gold 7, Gold 11. You're with me. Everyone else, provide cover fire." Lisa and her 2 wingmates pushed their fighters to maximum speed. The battleship's weapons tracked them, firing constantly. Lisa's shields were hit multiple times, dropping to critical levels. 500 meters. Lisa fired the disruption pulse. The battleship's shields collapsed. "Resolute, target is vulnerable." Peter did not waste the opportunity. Every weapon on the Resolute fired at once. Railguns, missiles, energy weapons. Everything humanity had developed in 3 desperate months. The barrage struck the unshielded battleship like a hammer. The alien ship's armor held against the initial impact, but the sustained fire found weak points. Explosions rippled across the hull. The battleship's main reactor went critical, and the entire vessel exploded in a burst of energy that lit up the rings. But victory came with a price. Lisa's wingmate, Gold 11, had been too close to the explosion. The blast caught his fighter and destroyed it instantly. Another pilot gone. Another friend dead. The battle raged for 3 hours. Ships hunted each other through the rings, using the ice as cover and weapons. Humans lost ships. Aliens lost ships. The ring system became a graveyard of burning hulks and debris. Chris Bennett commanded the frigate Defender, the replacement for Ryan Foster's ship that had been destroyed at New Austin. He was aggressive and creative, using tactics that seemed impossible. At one point, he landed his frigate on a large ice chunk, shut down all systems, and let the chunk's rotation carry him past an alien destroyer. When he was in position, he powered up and fired at point-blank range before the aliens even knew he was there. Jake Morgan tracked the battle from his console. "Admiral, we've destroyed 41 alien ships. We've lost 19 vessels." He paused. "We're winning." Peter could hardly believe it. The impossible was happening. Humanity was winning a battle they should have lost. But the cost was terrible. 19 ships, thousands of dead. And the battle was not over. Thelkar, in his damaged flagship, could not understand what was happening. His fleet was falling apart. These primitive humans fought like nothing he had ever seen. They took suicidal risks. They used their environment as a weapon. They refused to die when logic said they should. "All ships, retreat." Thelkar gave the order he had never given before in his career. "Fall back to the outer system. Regroup." The surviving alien ships, over 70 of them still functional, began withdrawing. Human ships pursued, harrying them as they fled. Lisa's squadron, down to 7 fighters now, made one final attack run. collapsing another destroyer's shields for the fleet to finish off. The aliens jumped to faster than light speed and vanished. They were gone. The human fleet regrouped slowly. Damaged ships limped back to the Titan shipyards. Medical teams rushed to help wounded crews. The rings were filled with debris, human and alien mixed together. Peter sat down heavily in his command chair. They had won. Against all odds, they had won. But he felt no joy. Only exhaustion and grief for the people they had lost. Lisa's fighter returned to the Resolute. Peter met her in the hangar bay. She climbed out of her cockpit, her flight suit soaked with sweat. Father and daughter looked at each other. No words were necessary. They embraced. "We did it," Lisa whispered. "We actually did it." You did it," Peter said. "You and every other pilot who flew into hell today." The victory at Saturn changed everything. News spread across Earth and the colonies. Humanity had defeated the alien fleet. The species that had conquered 17 others had run from humans. The galaxy had a new power, and that power was humanity. The Coalition High Command met in an underground bunker on Earth, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. President Daniel Carter sat at the head of the table, looking at the faces of his military commanders and scientific advisors. The victory at Saturn had given humanity hope, but it had also raised a question that divided them all. "We should fortify our defenses and wait," argued General Paul Stevens, commander of Earth's ground forces. "The aliens will come back. When they do, we need to be ready." Admiral Peter Grant shook his head. "If we wait, they'll return with 1,000 ships instead of 200. They know where we are now. They know we can fight. They'll come back prepared to destroy us completely." "So what do you propose?" President Carter asked. "We attack them first?" "Yes." Peter stood and activated the holographic display. A star map appeared, showing human space and the estimated location of the alien homeworld. "We take the fight to them. Show them that humanity will not sit and wait for destruction. Show the entire galaxy that we're not victims." Helen Martinez spoke up from her seat. "The data we recovered from destroyed alien ships shows their command structure. It's highly centralized. Everything flows through a single command nexus on their homeworld. If we can disrupt that nexus, we could cripple their entire military." "You're talking about striking deep into enemy territory," President Carter said slowly. "That's incredibly dangerous." "Everything we've done has been incredibly dangerous," Peter replied. "We sent exploration ships into unknown space. We fought a fleet we should have lost to. Being safe has never been humanity's strength. Being bold has." The room debated for hours. Finally, President Carter made his decision. "We'll authorize a reconnaissance mission, not a full assault. We need intelligence about their homeworld and their command structure. If the opportunity for sabotage presents itself, take it. But the primary mission is information gathering." Peter nodded. "I know the perfect person to lead this mission." Marcus Webb had spent the last 3 months recovering and debriefing intelligence officers about his encounter with the aliens. He was sitting in his apartment on the Mars orbital station when Admiral Grant called him. "I need you for one more mission," Peter said over the video link. Marcus looked at his hands. Amy Clark's burns had healed, but she still had scars. Kevin Hayes had nightmares about the battle. Lisa Grant had flown into combat and watched friends die. They had all paid prices for that first encounter. What kind of mission? The kind that could end this war before more people die. Marcus listened as Peter explained. A deep penetration mission into alien space. A small, fast ship that could avoid detection. A crew that had already faced the aliens and survived. The goal was to find the alien command nexus and either destroy it or learn enough about it to plan a future strike. "It's a one-way trip," Marcus said. "Even if we succeed, getting back will be nearly impossible." "I know. That's why I'm asking instead of ordering." Peter's face was serious. "You've earned the right to say no. A. Marcus thought about it. He thought about the Frontier Dawn's first journey, full of hope and curiosity. He thought about the structure that had nearly killed them. He thought about Earth, beautiful and blue, and threatened. Who else is going? That's up to you. Pick your crew. Marcus made his calls. Lisa Grant volunteered immediately. I'm tired of defensive battles, she said. Let's take the fight to them. Amy Clark and Kevin Hayes both agreed to join. The crew would also include Kyle Sanders, a former Special Forces soldier who now worked as a security specialist, and Megan Brooks, an engineer who specialized in alien technology. The ship was called the Shadow Runner, and it was unlike anything humans had built before. Small and fast, covered in stealth materials that absorbed sensor waves. It carried no heavy weapons, only enough armament for self-defense. Its entire purpose was to avoid detection and escape if discovered. They launched from the Titan shipyards 2 weeks after the Battle of Saturn. The journey to alien space would take 6 weeks at maximum speed. 6 weeks to prepare. 6 weeks to doubt their decision. Marcus spent the time studying everything they knew about the aliens. The species called themselves the Varan Collective. They had dominated their region of space for 3,000 years. They believed in a strict hierarchy, where the strong ruled the weak. Every species they encountered was either destroyed or subjugated. 17 species had fallen before them. Humanity was supposed to be the 18th. They've never encountered anyone who fought back successfully, Amy observed during one planning session. She had become fascinated by Varan psychology. Their entire worldview is based on superiority. Humans beating them at Saturn must have shattered something fundamental in their thinking. Good, Kyle said. He was checking weapons in the armory. Fear is a weapon. If they're afraid of us, they'll make mistakes. Megan worked constantly on understanding the alien technology they had captured. Their systems are incredibly advanced, but also incredibly rigid, she explained. Everything connects to their central command network. Every ship, every weapon, every communication. It makes them efficient, but vulnerable. If we can access their network, we can potentially cause chaos. The Shadow Runner crossed into Varan space 5 weeks into the journey. Immediately, they went dark, running on minimal power and passive sensors only. Marcus piloted the ship carefully through the outer systems, avoiding patrol routes and sensor grids. They have a lot of ships out here, Lisa noted from the navigation station. Hundreds of vessels, all organized and moving with purpose. They're regrouping, Marcus said. Preparing for another attack on Earth. We need to work fast. They penetrated deeper into Varan territory. Every day brought new dangers. Twice they had to hide in asteroid fields, while Varan patrol ships passed nearby. Once they were nearly detected by a sensor array and had to make a desperate jump to a different system. The Varan homeworld appeared on their sensors 3 weeks after entering alien space. It was a massive planet, slightly larger than Earth, with 3 moons. The planet glowed with lights, billions of inhabitants living in vast cities. Hundreds of warships orbited the world, forming an impenetrable defense grid. We'll never get close to that planet, Kevin said, studying the defenses. We don't need to get close, Megan said. I've been analyzing their communication patterns. The command nexus broadcasts constantly to all Varan ships. If we can intercept those broadcasts, we can learn about the nexus location and maybe even access their network. They positioned the Shadow Runner at the edge of the system, hidden behind a small moon. Megan deployed a specialized receiver and began capturing Varan military transmissions. The data flowed in, encrypted and complex. This will take days to decode, Megan said. We don't have days, Marcus replied. The longer we stay, the more likely we are to be discovered. Amy worked with Megan, applying her understanding of Varan psychology to break the encryption. Their security is strong, but predictable, Amy said. They think like a hierarchy. The encryption key probably follows their command structure. 2 days of intense work finally broke the encryption. The data revealed everything. The command nexus was located on the planet's largest moon, in a fortress called the Eternal Bastion. Every Veran military vessel in their empire received orders from this facility. Every strategic decision flowed through it. If we could sabotage the nexus, we could disrupt their entire military, Kyle said. But getting into that fortress is impossible. Look at the defenses. Marcus studied the images. The Eternal Bastion was surrounded by energy shields, weapons platforms, and over 50 warships. No force could break through those defenses, but maybe they did not need to break through. We don't attack it, Marcus said slowly. We sneak in. He explained his plan. The Shadowrunner would approach the moon disguised as a damaged Veran vessel. Kyle and Megan would infiltrate the fortress using captured Veran equipment. Once inside, Megan would plant a virus in the command network. Not a virus to destroy the system, but one that fed false information. The Verans would receive incorrect orders, incorrect data about human fleet positions, incorrect strategic assessments. It's insane, Lisa said. It's the only way, Marcus replied. They spent 3 days preparing. Megan modified a damaged Veran fighter they had captured at Saturn, making it look functional enough to fool distant sensors. Kyle and Megan studied Veran security procedures, learning how to move and act like Veran soldiers. Amy helped them understand the alien mindset, the way Verans thought and communicated. The approach to the moon was terrifying. Every sensor on the Shadowrunner screamed warnings about the weapons pointed at them. Marcus piloted carefully, broadcasting a distress signal in the Veran language. This is Fighter Craft 773. Damaged in combat. Requesting emergency docking. The weight was unbearable. If the Verans looked too closely, they would see through the disguise. The Shadowrunner would be destroyed instantly. Cleared for docking, Fighter 773, Bay 9. They were in. Marcus docked the ship carefully. Kyle and Megan, wearing modified Veran armor and carrying stolen access codes, left the Shadowrunner and entered the fortress. The rest of the crew waited, barely breathing, watching through the cameras Kyle wore. The Eternal Bastion was enormous inside. Corridors stretching for miles. Thousands of Veran soldiers and technicians worked at their stations. Kyle and Megan moved confidently, walking like they belonged. Amy had drilled them on Veran body language, and the disguise held. They reached a maintenance access point. Megan connected her equipment to the fortress's network. I'm in. Uploading the virus now. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the fortress. Red lights flashed. Security breach detected. Unauthorized access in Sector 12. We're compromised. Kyle grabbed Megan. Move now. They ran through the corridors as Veran soldiers converged on their position. Kyle fired his weapon, creating confusion. Megan clutched her equipment, making sure the virus upload completed. 5 more seconds. Veran soldiers appeared ahead and behind them. Kyle threw a flashbang grenade, blinding their pursuers. Megan. Now. Done. The virus is in. Megan disconnected her equipment, and they ran toward the docking bay. Marcus saw them coming on the cameras. Everyone strap in. We're leaving the moment they're aboard. Quote, Kyle and Megan burst into the docking bay with dozens of Veran soldiers behind them. They dove through the Shadowrunner's door, and Marcus fired the engines before the door even fully closed. The ship shot out of the docking bay. Energy beams filled space around them. The Shadowrunner's shields strained under the barrage. Marcus pushed the ship to maximum speed, dodging between weapons platforms. Lisa worked the navigation console frantically, calculating a jump route. Jump coordinates ready, Lisa called. Jump now. Marcus activated the faster-than-light drive. The Shadowrunner leaped across space, escaping the Veran homeworld. Behind them, chaos erupted in the Eternal Bastion's network. The virus spread through the command systems, altering data, changing orders, creating confusion. Veran fleets received orders to move to empty systems. Supply convoys were routed to wrong destinations. Strategic plans were based on false intelligence about human fleet positions. The carefully organized Varan military machine began to stumble. The Shadow Runner raced toward home, carrying the most valuable intelligence humanity had ever gathered. They had penetrated the heart of the Varan Empire. They had struck a blow that would echo across the galaxy, and they had proven that humans could not just defend themselves, they could take the fight to their enemies. Marcus sat in the captain's chair, exhausted but satisfied. They had succeeded against impossible odds. Again. Maybe that was becoming a human tradition. The Eternal Bastion hung in orbit around the Varan homeworld's largest moon, a fortress that had stood unconquered for 5,000 years. Commander Thelkar stood in the command center, staring at the tactical displays with growing disbelief. The human fleet had arrived. 72 ships against his 300 defenders. The humans should have been terrified. Instead, they were attacking. How did they find this place? Thelkar's second officer asked. This location is our most guarded secret. Thelkar had no answer. The humans had done the impossible too many times. They had survived first contact when they should have died. They had won at Saturn when they should have lost. They had infiltrated the Eternal Bastion and corrupted the command network before anyone realized they were there. Now, they were here, attacking the heart of the Varan Collective. All ships, defensive formation around the bastion, Thelkar ordered. Show these humans what real military power looks like. Admiral Peter Grant watched the Varan fleet organize itself from the bridge of the Resolute. 72 ships. That was all humanity could spare for this mission. The rest of the fleet protected Earth and the colonies in case this attack failed. The odds were terrible. But Peter had learned something important over the past months. Odds did not matter when fighting humans. All ships. Remember the plan. We're not here to conquer. We're here to break through their defenses and force them to negotiate. Peter opened the fleet-wide channel. We're going to show them that humans don't back down. We don't surrender. And we don't stop until we get what we want. Lisa Grant sat in her fighter, one of 50 that would lead the assault. Her squadron had been rebuilt after the Battle of Saturn, filled with new pilots who had trained under her command. They were young and scared, but they were ready. Gold Squadron, this is lead. Stay tight. Follow your training. And remember, we're fighting for everyone back home. The human fleet advanced. Varan ships opened fire at maximum range. Energy beams crossed the distance between the fleets. Hundreds of weapons firing simultaneously. Human shields absorbed the punishment, glowing bright with absorbed energy. Return fire, Peter ordered. All batteries, free fire. The human warships unleashed their own weapons. Railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speeds. Missiles streaked through space, leaving trails of engine fire. Energy weapons developed from captured alien technology added their power to the barrage. The two fleets collided in a storm of violence. Ships on both sides took damage. A human destroyer, the Courageous, lost its shields and took a direct hit to its reactor. The ship exploded, taking its crew of 200 with it. A Varan cruiser suffered the same fate moments later, torn apart by concentrated human fire. Lisa's fighter squadron dove into the chaos. Their mission was critical. They had to get close to the Eternal Bastion itself and collapse its shields long enough for the heavy ships to strike. 50 fighters against hundreds of Varan point defense systems. Gold Squadron, Pattern Delta, go. Lisa led her fighters in a weaving pattern, never flying straight, constantly changing direction. Varan weapons tracked them, firing continuously. Fighters exploded around her. Gold 7. Gold 12. Gold 3. Names she knew. People she had trained with. Stay focused, Lisa shouted over the radio. We're almost there. The bastion grew larger in her window, a massive structure bristling with weapons. It looked impenetrable. Lisa checked her range counter. 1,000 meters. 800. 600. Deploy pulse on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. 27 fighters fired their disruption pulses simultaneously, a wave of energy that struck the bastion's shields from multiple angles. The shields flickered and collapsed. Resolute, target is vulnerable. You have 8 seconds. Peter had been waiting for this moment. All capital ships, fire everything at the bastion. Now, every heavy gun in the human fleet turned toward the fortress. The barrage was incredible. The most concentrated firepower humanity had ever unleashed. Railgun slugs, missiles, energy beams, all converging on one target. The Eternal Bastion shook under the impact. Its armor held against most of the fire, but some shots penetrated, causing explosions deep within the structure. Critical systems failed. Power fluctuated. For the first time in 5,000 years, the bastion was wounded. Commander Thelkar felt the deck shake beneath his feet. Impossible. The bastion's shields should have held. The fortress should have been invulnerable. How were these humans doing this? Deploy all reserves, Thelkar ordered. Stop those fighters. 50 more Varan warships broke away from the main fleet to intercept the human fighters. But the human capital ships had been waiting for this. Captain Emma Stone commanded the Valiant, and she saw the Varan ships breaking formation. All destroyers, target those ships. Don't let them reach our fighters. Emma's ship accelerated, firing as it moved. The Valiant and 5 other destroyers positioned themselves between the Varan reinforcements and Lisa's squadron, creating a wall of fire. The space battle fragmented into dozens of individual engagements. Ryan Foster, promoted to captain after his heroism at New Austin, commanded the destroyer Defender. He fought like the battle was personal, his ship dancing through enemy fire and striking back with precision. Chris Bennett led a frigate squadron in a daring attack on the Varan flagship. His ships were small and vulnerable, but they moved unpredictably, using tactics that the Varans could not counter. When the Varans tried to engage them, Chris would retreat behind larger human ships, using them as cover. Jake Morgan coordinated the battle from the Resolute's tactical station. He tracked every ship, every squadron, calling out opportunities and threats. Admiral, 3 Varan cruisers are breaking off to flank us. Recommend we send the Valiant to intercept. Peter trusted Jake's judgment. Emma, you heard him. Take your group and stop those cruisers. The battle raged for 2 hours. Ships on both sides burned and died. The Varan numerical advantage slowly eroded as human tactics and determination took their toll. But humanity was bleeding too. Every lost ship represented hundreds of dead. Inside the Eternal Bastion, Thelkar realized he was losing. The humans were winning through sheer determination and creativity. They fought in ways that made no tactical sense, taking risks that should have destroyed them. But somehow, they survived. Sir, the command network is completely corrupted, his technical officer reported. The virus the humans planted has spread through every system. We're receiving false data from across the Empire. Fleet movements are chaos. Supply lines are disrupted. Thelkar understood then. This battle was not about destroying the Bastion. It was about breaking Varan confidence. It was about proving that humanity could strike anywhere, even the heart of the Varan Empire. And they were succeeding. Prepare to self-destruct the Bastion, Thelkar ordered quietly. If we cannot hold it, we will deny it to the humans. We will take both fleets with us. His officers looked shocked. Sir, that will kill thousands of our own people. Better dead than defeated, Thelkar said. It was the Varan way. Never surrender. Never show weakness. Peter Grant saw the energy readings from the Bastion spike on his displays. They're going to self-destruct. They're going to take everyone with them. Jake worked frantically at his console. If that fortress explodes, the blast will destroy every ship in the system, ours and theirs. Peter made a decision. A crazy, human decision. He opened a direct communication channel to the Bastion, broadcasting on all Varan frequencies. Commander Thelkar, this is Admiral Peter Grant of Earth. I'm offering you a ceasefire. I'm Mar. Adictine. The Varan bridge went silent. Thelkar stared at the communication console. An offer of peace? In the middle of battle? Humans do not dictate terms to the Varan collective. I'm not dictating terms. I'm offering an alternative to mutual destruction. Peter's voice was calm, almost friendly. You've fought well, Commander. Peter's voice was walking 1700 and with man. Your people have courage and honor. But this war serves no purpose. We don't want to conquer you. We just want to exist, without being destroyed. You attacked our homeworld, Thelkar said. After you attacked Earth. After you tried to exterminate us? Peter paused. How many species have you conquered, Commander? How many surrendered immediately when faced with your superior technology? Thelkar did not answer. The truth was all of them. Every species the Varans had encountered had submitted after the first battle. The strong ruled the weak. That was the way of the universe. We're different, Peter continued. We don't submit. We fight. And we'll keep fighting until you realize that we're not going to stop. You can kill us, but you'll pay a terrible price. Or you can talk to us as equals. Amy Clark's voice came over a secondary channel, speaking in the Varan language. She had studied their culture, learned their history. Commander, your people have ruled for 3,000 years because you were the strongest. But strength comes in many forms. Is it not stronger to make allies than to make corpses? Is it not wiser to adapt than to destroy? Thelkar thought about the battles. Humans fought with a ferocity that made no sense. They took losses that would have broken any other species, but they kept fighting. At Saturn, they had won. At New Austin, they had won. Even now, outnumbered and outgunned, they were winning. What would happen if the Varans destroyed humanity? They would win, eventually. But the cost would be enormous. And other species were watching. If humans, with their primitive technology, could fight the Varans to a standstill, what would other conquered species think? The entire Varan Empire could collapse. What are you offering? Thelkar asked. A treaty. Mutual recognition. You stay in your space. We stay in ours. Trade if both sides agree. But no more attempts to subjugate us. Peter waited. And in exchange, we'll share something valuable. We'll show you how we think, how we solve problems, how we adapt. Thelkar looked at his officers. They were exhausted, frightened. The bastion was damaged. The fleet was depleted. And the humans were still fighting. Still refusing to quit. Cease fire. Thelkar ordered. Stand down. All weapons. The Varan fleet stopped firing. For a moment, human ships continued their attack, unsure if it was a trick. Then Peter gave the order. All ships, cease fire. Hold positions. The battle ended. Ships from both sides floated in space, damaged and burning but alive. Slowly, carefully, communications opened between the fleets. Terms were discussed. Boundaries were established. Lisa's fighter squadron returned to the Resolute. She had started with 50 fighters. 18 came back. The losses hurt. Each one a friend, a person she had trained with. But they had won. They had achieved the impossible. Marcus Webb's Shadowrunner arrived 3 days later, carrying detailed intelligence about the Varan Empire. The information was valuable for future negotiations, proof that humanity could gather intelligence, could strike anywhere, could compete with any species in the galaxy. The Treaty of Saturn was signed 2 months later, aboard a neutral space station. Commander Thelkar represented the Varan Collective. Admiral Peter Grant represented humanity. They looked at each other across the table, two warriors from different species, and found mutual respect. Your people are unlike any we have encountered, Thelkar said. You refuse to accept defeat. You adapt faster than we thought possible. You fight with creativity that borders on madness. We're human, Peter said simply. We've been fighting to survive since we climbed down from the trees. We've faced ice ages, diseases, wars, disasters. The treaty was signed. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Varan Collective recognized another species as equals. News spread across the galaxy. Other species began reaching out to humanity, seeking trade, seeking alliances, seeking protection from Varan expansion. Marcus Webb stood on the observation deck of the Frontier Dawn, looking at Earth through the window. The planet looked the same as it always had, blue and beautiful. But everything had changed. Humanity had broken through the atmosphere and into a hostile galaxy. They had met aliens who tried to destroy them, and they had survived. Lisa Grant joined him at the window. "What do we do now?" she asked. Marcus smiled. "We explore. We learn. We grow. We show the galaxy what humans can do when we work together. And if we meet more hostile aliens, then we'll deal with them the same way we dealt with the Varans. We'll fight if we have to. We'll negotiate if we can. But we'll never surrender." Marcus put a hand on her shoulder. "The galaxy is enormous, Lisa, full of wonders and dangers. But it's not empty anymore. Humanity is out here now. And we're not going away." Aft, below them, Earth turned slowly in space. Millions of people, going about their lives, unaware of how close they had come to extinction. They had survived because people like Marcus, Lisa, Peter, Ryan, Emma, and thousands of others had refused to give up, had fought when victory seemed impossible, had adapted when rigid tactics would have failed. The age of human exploration had truly begun. Other species would learn what the Varans had learned. Humanity was creative, stubborn, and dangerous. They would make valuable allies or terrible enemies, but they would never be ignored, never be dismissed, never be conquered. The Frontier Dawn prepared for its next mission. There were more stars to explore, more mysteries to solve, more challenges to overcome. Marcus looked forward to all of it. The galaxy would never be boring again, and somewhere, on distant worlds, other species looked at the stars and wondered, what were these humans? Where had they come from? What would they do next? The answer was simple. Humans would do what they had always done. They would survive. They would adapt. They would reach for the stars and refuse to stop reaching. They had broken through their own atmosphere. Now they were breaking through every barrier the galaxy placed before them. The universe was enormous and dangerous and beautiful, and humanity was ready for it.